All right. Hey, everyone. I'm going to take you through what we call the process cost calculator. So now that you know every process in your organization, we need to start understanding how much each one of those processes is costing your organization on a monthly or annual basis. So typically, the best way to do this is to utilize software that is meant for timekeeping, so time tracking software, which is really prevalent in most service-based businesses, but might not be prevalent in other types of organizations. So if you don't have that in place, I would recommend it. But if you don't really want to put that in place, you can utilize this tool as a second means who will give you kind of a really rough cost of what it might be. So the way that we do this is that you first go through here and you put in every process that you took from your process map in the previous step. From there, you enter in every department that's in that process. So before we would have things like awareness campaigns, and this would be based on our marketing department. And then once you are able to identify that, you enter in what is the average department cost. So this is where time tracking comes in really valuable because you're able to actually look at the cost of each individual rather than look at an average department cost. But to do this manually is probably just too much work and there's too much room for error. So if you're going to utilize this tool, what I'd recommend is you take the average hourly cost of everyone in a department, everything from the senior manager to the assistant or coordinator, and take the amount of their salary times the amount of people that are in that salary position, and then take the average on an average person basis. So say this would be like $100. So you would have something like um, process one would be say like awareness campaigns. This would be inbound marketing, and then this would be say like $100 an hour, right? Just as an example. So you do this across the way for each campaign. And then in there, what you'll see is that you can actually have your team be able to track time for each one of these. So what you would do is that you would create a duplicate of this Google Sheet, and then you send it out and have every employee fill it out for 4 weeks. And then we'd recommend that you remove the hourly cost section. So we would not want to have this in there because for whatever reason, we just don't want, say, like marketing to be like, why does marketing get paid more than finance on an average basis? It just kind of creates questions that we don't really need to provide the answers for. And so from there, I would remove this. This will only take 1 week, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then keep the process list in there, but I would just delete this column. And then from there, they'll go through and they'll be able to choose. So as you see, when you put in awareness campaigns, it will automatically populate and they can choose which lockdown. The reason why this is process 2, 3, and 4 is because we haven't filled that out yet. If we take a look at this would be, we could just say, I don't know, just discovery session. And then once again, we go here, you'll actually see that now you can choose discovery section, right? So we do this for every 30-minute increment in a day. You can easily extend the day if you go beyond a certain point just by copying a row and putting it there and then changing the time as an update. And then kind of going from there. So do this for each week for your team. And then ultimately the way it's set up is that if you come to this last tab in the summary, it will put out everything that we put in that first tab. But then it will actually start to calculate and pick up the hours per month, and then it'll give you the cost per month. So if you take a look at just doing it really simply, you'll see that it will flow through a bit. You could say awareness campaigns. You can see that we spent 30 minutes on that because we didn't fill out everything. And that the estimated monthly costs, monthly costs for that is only $50 because only half an hour was spent on it. This example, and the annual cost would be $650. So just kind of showing you how the Excel works. Obviously, these want to be real numbers. So from here, we'll be able to have a list of every process in column A, and in column F, we'll have the annual costs. And then we'll be able to start ranking and seeing which one of the costs are actually costing the business the most amount of money. The last thing to kind of mention is that once you do the costs for every employee sheet, you're going to have to essentially add up all the tallies and either put them in here manually or you could actually just put in the sheets and work through the Excels. But typically, I think the best way of doing it is going through and looking at the amount of hours that each person puts, entering, putting it manually into this area, and then going for the monthly costs. So I hope that's helpful. Once again, so much easier if you use time tracking. So I would definitely recommend that. But this is a secondary tool if you don't want to make that investment, which I think you should. But hopefully, it's a little bit helpful.